The corner of the room, the Holyoke Magical Singers, high school magical singers, will start our presentation with the induction and the introduction of the class of 2022 Holyoke Hall of Famers.
Wasted a good surprise.
The Holyoke High School Madrigal Singers.
Holyoke High School, alma mater, first forever.
And we start with the
days we spent with thee will always live in memory. And HOLYOKE, in friendship, truth, and loyalty. So
next up is Bobby
Holyoke High School will be true to thee.
and Steve Wojnar Sr. In the coaches category, Raymond Mitchell, represented by his wife Sandy and his son Ray Mitchell Jr. And everybody's All-American, Mr. Bill Rigali. In the contributor category, Ronald Bennett, represented by his son Dave. In the athlete category, Brennan. JoJo Feliciano. Gilbert. Hart, represented by his nephew Danny Reyes. And his brother Jimmy Hart. JJ King, represented by sons JJ and Jacob. Paula Rigali. Rafael Santos Jr. In the team category, the 1978 Holyoke High School State Championship Baseball team. And the 2005 Dean Tech football team. Represented by JoJo. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your Holyoke Hall of Famers class of 2022. All right, if everybody could make their way to their seats, we'll get our program underway.
Here we go.
I'm trying, Well, hey everybody, and once again, welcome to tonight's festivities. My name is Scott Cohen. I'll be your MC for tonight. I've had the pleasure of covering sports here in Western Mass for, I don't know, close to 40 years, I guess. And I do a lot of these speaking engagements, and I've done this event before. And I think this is the first time where I can actually say that when you do a Hall of Fame thing, there's a lot of old-timers in the room and people who were performing before there was television and radio and things like that. But tonight is special for me because a lot of the teams and the people who were being introduced tonight and inducted, I actually had the pleasure of covering when I was working at Channel 40. So and I'll try to tell some stories along the way.
Before we begin, we want to have our national anthem.
Yep, fair enough. Before we begin the rest of the evening, we would like everybody to stand for our national anthem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Holyoke High School Madrigal Singers. Thank you for that. A couple quick announcements before we begin the Hall of Fame induction. We'd like to recognize some folks here tonight, and if you would like to come up and say a few words, you're certainly welcome to do that. Joining us this evening is State Representative Patricia Duffy. Put your hands together for Patricia. You want to come up and say hello? Of course she does.
Of course I do. What politician is going to say no to that? I just want to say congratulations to the inductees, and I love everyone in this room. Our public schools and school spirit are the most important work we do, and I have little proclamations for all the inductees. A nice little souvenir. I promise not to read them though. So thank you very much, and thank you, Scott.
And Patricia, we thank you in advance for not reading the proclamations individually. I'm not going to mention anybody's name, okay, or names, because like over the years, sometimes, you know, you get folks up. And listen, all of the inductees, you're on report right now. You got 90 seconds. This is just like the Oscars and the Golden Globes. You know, you don't need to thank your second cousin once removed from, you know, Limerick and Ireland tonight. You don't need to do that. It's not necessary. I shaved before I got here. I don't want to need a shave by the time I leave. So let's, you know, these clothes are still in style, okay? So let's all keep that in mind this evening. One more person we want to recognize, Anthony Soto, the Superintendent of Schools here in Holyoke. Mr. Soto, are you in the room? No? Okay, fair enough. Yep. And last but certainly not least, before we get into the meat of the program, put your hands together for the Honorable Jose Garcia, the Mayor of Holyoke. Joshua.
Oh yeah. It's all good. It's all good. What's up, everybody? Jose Garcia. That's not the first time, so don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad. Hey, you're new, man.
I'm new.
You're new.
I get the greatest honor and very distinct pleasure to welcome everybody here to the city of Holyoke. And for those that are traveling from far to be here tonight, welcome home. I know there are many folks in this room that are here to celebrate the pride that our public schools offers to children every single day. Including myself, who was raised in the school system. Although I didn't have the honor to play sports, I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, but my best friend in the whole wide world, Scott Garcia, who's with me tonight. When we were young kids running around the streets of South Holyoke, he started playing youth sports football and then Holyoke High football. But I was in the choir with Mr. Todd, and I'm happy to see that Mr. Todd's still doing his thing. Shout out to Mr. Todd. And a huge shout out to the committee that puts this together every single year. The pride, the little bit of pride that we have in ourselves is what we need, and it's what's going to build this community. And the pride that this committee is doing tonight with the people in this room, I am forever grateful for the work that they're doing and the work that each of you are doing within your own lives. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night and congratulations. And let's celebrate. Jose out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, so we have a handful of Hall of Famers that we are going to introduce before dinner. We'll do the dinner portion of the program, and then we'll get into the meat of our program following dinner. So without any further ado, our first Hall of Fame inductee for 2022 is Robert Bobby Little, Holyoke High School class of 1932. Robert Bobby Little was anything but little on the football, basketball, and baseball diamond for the Purple and White. Starring as a running back, he was considered one of the best backs in the Pioneer Valley. Playing both ways, Bobby showed he was the class of the league. On the basketball court, his more than diminutive style did not hinder his powerful strength. His senior year was capped with a successful season of baseball. Bobby Little's athletic success carried him on to the next level. Beginning in the fall of 1933, Bobby played collegiate ball at Lincoln University, the first degree-granting HBCU, historically black college and university in the country. While playing there, Bobby injured his eye. This was the beginning of him losing the sense of sight. However, with the tenacity he demonstrated on the field, Bobby did not let this keep him from later contributing greatly to Holyoke. As a community organizer, he was the voice of many who felt they were silent. Please welcome Robert Bobby Little into the Holyoke High School Sports Hall of Fame. Next up is Ron Bennett, inducted this year as a contributor. Ron Bennett made his first contribution to Holyoke sports 70 years ago, but it was the gift that kept giving to the Holyoke Youth Baseball League, founded by Bennett in 1952, which continues to serve as a feeder program for the Purple Knights baseball team today. There were no organized youth baseball teams in the Paper City in 1950, but Bennett got to the neighborhood kids playing baseball in Bray's pasture near his home on Westfield Road. Later, with the help of the Holyoke Junior Chamber of Commerce and the Holyoke Parks and Recreation Commission, a 10-team league was established in 1953. The following year, the league continued to grow and grow. Through the years, so many athletes who benefited from Ron's creation, as the Holyoke High baseball team's remarkable achievements over the years, including this year's Hall of Fame inductee class of 1978, who are also a big part of what Ron put out on the field. Please welcome as a contributor Ron Bennett into the Holyoke High School Sports Hall of Fame. Representing his father Ron is his son David Bennett.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the committee for including my father into the Hall of Fame. Special thanks to Joe Dutzar, Quentin Donahue, and John Burnell for sticking with me and helping edit the old pictures and information that we had to put together to honor my dad. He had a dream back in 1950 to see the kids in Holyoke playing baseball. Now this is all guys back then. The girls hadn't come into the picture yet, so we'll address that one later on here. But we started in 1950 with a team called the Westfield Road Diamonds, that little piece of curved curve in the road on Westfield Road. We started out there and we got kicked to Bray's pasture. They mowed the grass, but we still couldn't see your shoes. And true story, the first time we got out there, we used for bases was cow flop. So next time we went out, the next weekend we went out, we had plywood bases my dad got from work. My brother made a comment on social, said that he cannot believe how much my dad accomplished with no social media. He did everything person to person. He just would, if he had a problem, he'd go solve it by interacting with the parties involved. 1950, he had put the Westfield Road Diamonds, a barnstorming group of looked like the Little Rascals, all over Pittsfield, Springfield, Greenfield, all over the place. We just played games. We were having fun. The parents are all, appreciative of the fact we were out there playing a game that everybody loves. And the next year, they became the Holyoke Midgets, and he took that team down and played a lot of exhibition games with Springfield, and that was the predecessor to him taking the 52 In We Go team down into the Springfield League. I think we came in third place with 32 teams, and the feather in my dad's cap was that they won the Sportsmanship Award. He really set the example for all the kids. My dad was mentored by Romeo Sr in Springfield. He deserves a lot of credit. He sat down with my dad, told him all the ins and outs on how to set up a league, and then the following year, 1952, In We Go team played in Springfield, and we had that team competed pretty good with the other teams, and we had a good record. But the thing that I noticed about that was Billy Dowling was our pitcher, and today Patrick Dowling is still with his nephew, I guess, is one of the administrators of the Holyoke Youth Baseball League. So over 70 years, stayed close to home. The Midget League went in a year later, 2 years later, I'm sorry. The parents wanted, after the first year, initial year that was so successful, they had a year off, and then he put the Midget League into place, and then the Civitan League followed that. So Ron was helping with the Mighty Miters when he stepped aside. I got to compliment Miss Brennan on being one of the first woman to play in the leagues. And just to close, I would like to mention the fact that my dad's best friend, Wojnar Sr, they were inseparable for years, putting their minds together. And my dad come home one day and he was laughing. I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Well, Jim." I said, "What's going on?" He says, "Well, he wants to be buried next to me." They are. Can you imagine the baseball stars going out there? "Hey, Ron, what? Did you hear the latest?" "No. There's a girl playing in the league." He was a Holyoker through and through. Born here, raised here, lived here his whole life, worked for J. Russell's, and this is well appreciated by the Bennett family, and I thank you very much. Thanks.
Great stories. Our next inductee is Ray Mitchell. I came to Western Mass for the first time in June of 1987, and Ray took over the Holyoke High School football team in the fall of 1987. Over 15 seasons, the team responded to Mitchell's head coaching abilities, and he helped lead the Knights to 2 Western Mass Super Bowl championships, 2 Central Mass championships, and 101 victories. Ray had the opportunity to coach such legends as Cedric Washington, but he also treated all of his athletes as equal parts. Ray has always and will always be a staple on the Holyoke High School landscape and a lifelong mentor to the city's youth. Please welcome Ray Mitchell into the Holyoke High School Sports Hall of Fame. Here to speak on Ray's behalf is his wife, Sandy.
I want to thank the committee for honoring Ray. He would be very honored to receive this award if he was here. He thoroughly enjoyed his years coaching and teaching at Holyoke High. Thank you.
And thank you, Sandy. All right, guys, it's time for dinner. Everybody relax, have some fun, enjoy the meal here at Wyckoff Country Club, and we'll come back with the rest of our program following dinner. Thank you and enjoy.
If they want more 50-50, they can go inside. So we started it, and thankfully we had Coach Dustar who helped push us over the goal line with many of his teams, and this is kind of what it's turned into. Every year we've had over 400 people at the event in four years, four events and over 400 each time. I want to really thank Wyckoff for the great event last year, this year, and we're going to be back here again next year as well. So thank you for them and all their staff. We also want to recognize and thank all of our sponsors as well who did ads in the book. And last year we gave out like $2,500 in scholarships. This year for donations we should be around $5,000, I think, when all said and done, to give the kids for scholarships. And we give it to other sports like lacrosse or girls field hockey, sports that are up and coming and need extra financial help. So thank you for your support. Thank the sponsors as well. I want to recognize our committee, our longest, the original committee. Where's Raleigh? Raleigh? Lynn Dustar, she's not here with us tonight. Gloria, our newest members, Mike Mannix, Rick LaJoy, Kelly Curran, Tommy Hoha. Tommy was in charge of the ads this year. We blew it away, 40 different ads. So great job, Tommy. Expect 50 next year. Quentin Donahue. Quentin basically writes. He had help this year, but in the last years he's been writing the program, writing about the doing the interviews, and has done a great bio on each one of the inductees in the team. So great job for Quentin and Rick too, helping out this year. And just want to, Coach Dustar, like I said, he really, Jay Well and myself, we were kind of the founders of it, but it was really, when Coach got involved, it really helped us get to the next level and, like you said, cross the goal line. And just want to recognize everything he's done. His retirement this year from the high school football team. He coached Dean. He coached the high school. He's done so much to help the kids in the public schools. So I just want to extra thanks to Joe. All right. So we're going to get on with the rest of the evening. I know people have come to these every year, but where's Billy Juck? I found the rest of your speech, Bill, if you want to finish it. That's an inside joke, but anyway, so I'm going to turn it over to Scott Cohen, and thank you again for coming tonight.
Thank you. For all those who called. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Did I take some of your notes?
No, I think I've got it.
Oh, just 1 second. One quick thing.
Okay.
I forgot to thank extra people tonight that helped us too. I wrote it down as well. Sharon Amos and Barbara Lucy, and my brother Jimmy for helping out at the door, as well as Gloria's father and Donnie Manis as well. And Jan's Flowers for donating the flowers to our inductees. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. You know, when just a moment ago when we were talking about how the length of a speech is an inside joke, it's really not an inside joke. It's a completely outside joke. And you're just like, just don't do that ever again. None of you. You're short and sweet, baby. That's the way to go through life. I did live, before we get going, I was over here and looking out over the room, and I did sports in the area forever. Covered a lot of high schools, from Springfield to Hampshire County and Franklin County and everywhere else. And to be totally honest, I suppose I could do a Hall of Fame MC thing all the time. I think there's like, what, 80 high schools that are in our 3-county area. But I don't. And it's not because I'm not asked. I am. And you can't be everywhere because you have a life and you have your own time and all of those things. But I do this one. So it's important. So thank you for having me here. Yeah, it's really terrible. It's terrible. But I'm from the bottom of my heart. I'm really happy to be here on a Saturday night. So, all right. Without any further ado, our first group on the second part of our evening is the 1978 Holyoke High School baseball team. A sign of a true champion is overcoming obstacles to win big games, and that's what the 78 high school baseball team did.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
They had a rough end to their regular season, but once the Western Mass tournament started, they got it done. They went on to the state tournament and scored big wins and really became a team that is one for the ages. And you know what a small world it is. The senior captain, Mark Romoli, is a friend of mine. And I don't think I knew until tonight about your athletic prowess and success, because that's the kind of guy Mark is. He doesn't talk about it a lot. So a true team for the ages. Please welcome the 1978 Holyoke High School baseball team inducted into the Holyoke High School Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. They've told me to keep it 1 to 2 minutes, but I said it's been 44 years. It took us 3.5 months to win a state championship. I promise you it'll be maybe 5 or 6 minutes, but I got to tell our story. Okay. But again, good evening. I'm Mark Romoli, a proud teammate and captain of the 1978 high school Purple Knights baseball team. And we're accepting as a team. I wanted team members to be up here, some of which aren't here, obviously. But we have Donnie Mann, who was our catcher. Jeff Quirk, our left fielder. Doug Coakley, outfield. Billy Juck, right fielder. Dave Saborn, our ace #1 pitcher. And Bob O'Neill, probably one of the best defensive first basemen ever played at Holyoke High. First and foremost, my teammates and coaches want to extend our heartfelt congratulations to all of the Holyoke High School Hall of Fame inductees who are being honored this evening. Honors are all well-deserved for a job well done. Congratulations. We'd also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee members for their dedication and commitment each and every year in making this event and evening so very special and meaningful for both the inductees and guests in attendance. Baseball is a team game, and the 1978 Purple Knights baseball team exemplified what team is all about. The entire roster was comprised of players who grew up in Holyoke, which is known as the Paper City, and learned the game at an early age by participating in the Holyoke Youth Baseball League, which was started one of tonight's inductees, Mr. Ronald Bennett, and our heartfelt thanks go out to Mr. Bennett and his family, so thank you. We as players also want to thank all those individuals who dedicated their lives to provide opportunities for kids like us to learn the game we came to love. For those league administrators, coaches, umpires, and volunteers, we say thank you. I'd like to take a moment now and just give you a list of the coaches and players that were part of the team. We had head coach John Jinx O'Connor. His children are here tonight. God bless Jinxie. And we also have assistant coach at the time, Joe McCarthy, who then became the head coach after Jinx retired, Coach McCarthy. And then in alphabetical order, I also already introduced Doug, but it's Doug Coakley, Matt Connors, Bill Zuck, Jim Ellis, Jack Gilligan, myself, Jeff LaMagdalene, God rest his soul, Don Mann, Steve McCarthy, Bob O'Neill, Jeff Quirk, Dave Saborn, Jack Sheehan, Mark Soskovic, Ed Stankiewicz, John Valencia, and of course our team managers who were James LaFontaine and John Trombley. The 1978 Holyoke High School Purple and Ice baseball team was proud to present Coach O'Connor with the Division I Massachusetts State Championship title prior to his retirement. Both Coach O'Connor and McCarthy are both members of the Massachusetts Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame, with Coach O'Connor being inducted in 1980 and Coach McCarthy in 2014. And then I just want to go into, obviously this was a very special team, and I just want to kind of give you an overview in terms of our tournament run. In the quarterfinal game, we beat Cathedral in a quarterfinal game 9-7. We then went on to play Minnechaug in a semifinal game in which we won 5-0. Great pitching effort by John Valencia. And we were rewarded for winning that game to go to the Western Mass final to play Agawam High. And I don't know how many people may have been at the game at that time, but it took place on June 12, 1978 at Zot Park in Chicopee under the lights, and more than 3,500 people were in attendance. Some say the largest crowd ever to witness a Western Mass baseball final. Now, Agawam had Mike Snake Riley, who was a 6'7" pitcher and a 4th-round draft pick of the Twins that year. Very few people gave Holyoke High a chance to beat Riley in Agawam High School, but what people attending the game didn't know, we had 2 coaches, 16 players, and 2 managers who believed in each other, in our abilities, and we had a dominant pitcher going for us that night in Dave Saborn, who dominated Agawam and outpitched Riley. Final score, Holyoke 5, Agawam 2. So next we go to the state semifinal, which was played in Rockland, Mass, which is about 2.5 hours away, and our opponent was Lynn English. Again, no one gave Holyoke High a chance to win that day. Their starting pitcher was 9-0 that year. His name was Fred Fabrizio. Never forget. They also had a pitcher, Dick Newton. His high school career record was 23-1. So combined record 32-1. After 3 innings, Holyoke High led 9-0. They never met a team like Holyoke, I'll tell you that. We scored additional runs off Newton, who came in the 5th inning, and we go on to win the game 11-8, and now we're on to the Massachusetts State Division I baseball final. The state final was held at Fitton Field on the campus of Holy Cross College on June 17, 1978. Shrewsbury, who happened to have the Yankees' #1 draft pick that year, Brian Ryder. So we had to beat 4th-round draft pick the Twins, and then we had to beat a 1st-round draft pick for the state final. It was back and forth game with a score tied 3-3, ending at the top of the 8th inning with Shrewsbury coming to the plate. During that inning, Shrewsbury scored 3 runs and went ahead 6-3 to the bottom of the 8th inning. So all of a sudden we come off the field, we're down 6-3. We could have just packed it in, but no, Holyoke came to play. Don Mann, who's up here, leads off with a single to left. Ed Stankiewicz and myself walk. Shrewsbury brings in a relief pitcher named Scott Maynard to face Dave Saborn, who's also up here with 1 out. Saborn golfed a 2-2 fastball to drive in Mann and Stankiewicz, and then both Grimoli and Saborn moved up to 2nd and 3rd on a throwing error during Saborn's hit. Now with runners on 2nd and 3rd, Jeff Quirk, who we call Nazareth, that's Tarzan backward, he jumped on a full count fastball and drove it 380 feet for a ground rule double to left, scoring both runners. Score now 7-6 Holyoke going into the top of the 9th. In the top of the 9th inning with 1 out, Shrewsbury has a runner reach first base on an error. Next batter strikes out, 2 outs, and runner on first. Next batter sends a fly ball to none other than Billy Zuck in right field. The catch is made, game over, Holyoke High 1978 Massachusetts Division I state champion. I promise, I get 1 more minute. I'm finishing up. Just because Holyoke High baseball, I just want to talk about it's a game of statistics, and here are some statistics that I would like to share to put things into perspective. Holyoke High baseball has the third most appearance with a total of 6 in the Massachusetts State High School Division I baseball tournament. Holyoke High School baseball has the second most state title wins with a total of 4 in Massachusetts State High School Division I baseball tournament history. 1950, 53, 78, and 85. Many of those players in 85 were at our 78 game, correct, Pat? Correct, Mark. All right, good job. I'm going to finish up with this, though, but probably about 30 seconds. The moment was never too big for the 1978 Holyoke High baseball team. A newspaper article from the Transcript Telegram dated Monday, June 19, 1978 by Bill Zajac, who actually is here tonight, and I talked to him earlier, wonderful gentleman, were some memorable thoughts and quotes that I would like to share related to our team and our successful run in the tournament. He stated, call it breaks, call it luck, or call it magic, whatever you call it, there is a mystery ingredient involved in winning a state high school baseball tournament. Yeah. The high school baseball team had it, in capital letters. Regardless of how the talent is distributed, the team must possess innumerable intangibles to keep winning in a single elimination tournament. When the opposition was tough, the nights were tougher. When a challenge arose, they were always ready for it. They had the ability to come back to turn desperation into security. They did what they had to do to win. Again, capital letters. They didn't know about quitting or giving up or giving in. They were fighters, battlers, warriors of the diamond, and they were winners. On behalf of the 1978 Holyoke High School Purple Knights baseball team, we are humbled, honored, and forever grateful for being inducted as a team into the Holyoke High School Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Congratulations.
That wasn't bad, was it, Scott?
Not so bad. Yeah. That wasn't so bad. It's all in the delivery. Good job, Mark. All right, we're off and running. All right, next up on the hit parade is the 2005 Dean Tech High School football team. And this is one of the teams that I remember covering during my days at Channel 40. And it was my first introduction to Joe, and he and I have been friends ever since. History was made in the fall of 2005. It didn't shake up the world, but it certainly got the attention of the Holyoke sporting community as Dean Tech High School won its first ever Massachusetts State Championship. The football Golden Hawks earning the State Small School Tech Bowl, led by legendary head coach Joe Dutzar and legendary assistant coach Steve DeBillo. Just wonderful guy. God rest his soul. The 2005 Golden Knights made their mark. Names like Carlos Garcia, Mike Giacino, and the list goes on and on. And I'm going to let Joe talk about it a lot more. He'll do a better job than I will. On behalf of the Holyoke High School Hall of Fame Sports Committee, we would like to welcome the 2005 Dean Tech High School football team into the Hall of Fame. Head coach Joe Dutzar.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee for this honor. Thank you to those people that recognized our program. I'd like to acknowledge Ray Mitchell. Sandy, where are you? Sandy, I learned more about football and how to deal with kids, not X's and O's, but how to deal with kids from your husband Ray, who was inducted tonight. And that is very important to me. I learned so much more about kids from him than anybody else. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge Tom O'Neill, Fran Smith, Bobby Dostowski, I've coached with for years that have ingrained lessons in my mind over the years. And I'd also like to call up my coaches that were on my staff at that time at Dean, Coach Bennett, Coach Webb, come on up, And the players, please come on up. You know, we started out at Dean in the year 2000, and people said, you know, you're crazy. You're going to run a program down at a Voc Tech school, coming from Holyoke High School. And the principal at the time, Mr. David Dupont, said, we need you to steer the program. I said, I'll give you 3 or 4 years. It turned out to be 16 years down at Dean, and then returning back to the high school for the last 8 or 9 or 7 or 8 or 9 years, whatever it was. I keep track. I lose track of time because I've been coaching since 1985. What this team did was remarkable, considering they were in existence from 2000, and in 5 short years they won a state championship. Now, the majority of these players had no playing experience prior to coming to Dean, and what I had was a special coaching staff that knew the game and knew how to coach and knew how to interact with students and get the most from them. And that was the biggest proponent of why we got to where we did. And I'm forever grateful to those guys. It really has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the people that are here before you on your left-hand side. My right, your left-hand side. The year before, in 2004, we qualified for this championship game due to an error in academia reporting. We had to decline the offer to go, and that hurt these young men that participated on that team, hurt me, hurt the coaches, but they made a decision that it's not going to happen again. And the following year, they came out like gangbusters and got to where they were going. We got to the final game there up at Worcester State College. Carlos Garcia was leading Western Mass with 1,800 yards, 1,855, 25-yard touchdowns. He gets hurt. We fall behind. We got 1 minute and 35 seconds, 1 minute and 22 seconds left in the game. Michael Giacino steps into the game and scores the game-winning touchdown. We were down 21-0 in this game, folks. We were down 21-0, and called a timeout and said, "Stop beating yourselves. Let the game come to us." I mean, block punts, return for a touchdown, interception for a touchdown, long run for a touchdown for Neshoba, and they weren't rattled. They stuck to it and had the gumption to fight hard. And your character, your determination, unwavering, and you did something very special. To my coaches, where's Coach Webb? Coach Webb. Coach Bennett, and the four aforementioned coaches really had a large part in the success of this team. I'm just very pleased and happy to accept this on behalf of my guys. Carlos. Where's Carlos? Carlos. Okay, one guy here, Carlos Giacino. He's got no practice. I'm asking him to speak on his 1,845 yards, 25-yard touchdown, leading Western Mass, and getting us to where we got, a state championship.
Just thanks, man. I appreciate the opportunity as a team. Holy, I can't do it without the rest of the guys. There's a lot of guys missing here, but we just stuck under, like you said. And I'm sorry, I'm actually pretty sad. I don't know what to say, but I appreciate you guys for the opportunity and acknowledging all this that we did for us. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey guys, can we take a group photo? Can we take a group photo? Somebody? That's what I'm saying. I got to see it. I got to see it. Can we take a picture? Right here, guys. Right here. Come on, get in here, coach.
I'll get it.
Great picture, guys.
What was the side score? 2005 champions! Yeah! Let's beat the game!
All right, once again, the Dean Tech team from 2005. Congratulations. Next up is Richard Golden, class of 1949. During his time at Holyoke High School, Richard was a three-sport athlete playing baseball, hockey, and football. After graduating from Holyoke High, he went to Munson Academy where he played hockey and soccer. He went into the Navy, and when he left the Navy, he signed up at Michigan State University where he played shortstop for the baseball team. A leadoff hitter, batting .283, he was named captain of the varsity team on baseball, and he also played hockey at Michigan State. Richard was also a prolific golfer, winning tournaments from both the eastern and western part of the state. You could call Richard Golden a true man for all seasons, but tonight we refer to him as a Holyoke High School Hall of Famer. Please welcome Richard Golden into the Holyoke High School Hall of Fame. And I just have Susan's name on here, but there's more than that, so congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of my Aunt Sue and my family, I want to thank the committee for recognizing my late Uncle Richard for his athletic achievements in baseball, hockey, and football. I'm certain if he were here tonight, he'd be very honored and humbled to accept this award. I want to congratulate all of the athletes and teams and contributors being recognized tonight. And again, thank you to the committee for this award.
Our next individual athlete is Steve Wojnar. Steve had his glory days playing baseball in Holyoke, and he made the most of every minute. He was one of the first kids playing in Ron Bennett's fledgling Holyoke Youth Baseball League and blossomed into one of the best high school players on the team. A three-year starter, Wojnar captained the Purple Knights in his senior season and was the Western Mass batting champion with a .461 average. His 16 consecutive hits is still a Western Mass record, and it earned Steve a contract with the Washington Senators, but he didn't accept the professional contract. He went and applied and got into UMass, where he played baseball there, and he also played in the famed Cape Cod League for the Chatham Red Sox. Aside from baseball, Wojnar was a two-year starter on the football field, helping the Purple Knights win a Western Mass title his junior year. Steve was also a three-year starter on the hard court, basketball, and a team captain his senior year. Another Holyoke man for all seasons. Please welcome Steve Wojnar into the Holyoke High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Yes. You bet. You've earned it.
Thank you, everyone. I first want to thank my grandson Matthew and John Brunel for spearheading me into this situation where I'm now an alum of the Hall of Fame. He told you all about my accomplishments in baseball. I played for the Cape Cod League. I was recruited by a Red Sox scout to play at Chatham, the Chatham Red Sox at the time. And it was then, and it is still now, considered the #1 baseball league in the country. You have several major leaguers playing now and have played in the past that played on the Cape Cod League. So this is quite an honor. When I look around here and I see this is the size of my graduating class, over 400. So when you figure going back to 1961, how many thousands and thousands of people went through Holyoke High, and how many athletes went through Holyoke High. And I feel very privileged to be one that is now inducted into the Hall of Fame. What makes this induction very special for me is the fact that several years ago, my brother Theodore Ted Wojnar was inducted into the Holyoke High Hall of Fame. He was an admiral in the Coast Guard. And I found out in talking to him the other day that the Chicago Cubs wanted him badly. They kept trying to recruit him, but he didn't do it. So he went into the Coast Guard Academy and graduated and eventually worked his way up to admiral. So that's quite an honor to be in there with my brother. So thank you, Mom and Dad.
Next on our list is Jose JoJo Feliciano. To excel in any sport, you need talent, commitment, and drive. For 3-year Dean Tech basketball player Jose JoJo Feliciano, the 1,000-point club was his mark of distinction. Going into the Western Mass semifinal against Pioneer, he was 17 points away from the magic number. And he was lucky enough, and I remember when I was covering sports on television, we would always try to cover the kids who were about to score their 1,000th point. And the kids who got a chance to score it at the free throw line, they had everybody looking at them. And I mean, that's the way you want to do it. And that's the way Jose did it. He got it at the Springfield Civic Center in a big playoff game, and he got a chance to sink a free throw to join a very, very elusive club. And when you go to the gym over at Holyoke High, his name is right up there in the 1,000-point club, and it's really just a terrific accomplishment. Please welcome Jose JoJo Feliciano into the Holyoke High School Hall of
Fame. Good evening. I'm very grateful and honored to be here today. I would like to thank the committee for nominating me to the Hall of Fame. Huge thank you to Coach Woods at McGrath and to my beautiful family. Thank you.
All right, Jose, congratulations. Our next inductee is Larry Gilbert. One of the best players to ever step onto the basketball court at Holyoke High School, Larry Gilbert was a tremendous mix of talent and intensity on the court. After sitting out part of his junior year, Gilbert returned to the court and went on to earn first-team All-Western Mass honors that year. He not only repeated the first-team honors in his senior year, but he also won the John Honey Lahovich Award, which is given every year to the top high school boys basketball player in Western Mass. A huge honor. He also received other honors in 1996. He was named the USA Today Massachusetts Second Team All-State and honorable mention for the Gatorade Massachusetts State Player of the Year. If that wasn't enough, Gilbert also completed his high school career as the Purple Knights' all-time leading scorer. After that, it was a trip to AIC where he earned a degree in finance, and he is currently the president of Foresight Strategies, I'm thinking I'm pronouncing that properly, which provides value-based insurance and business financial planning strategies with offices in New York and London. Please join me in welcoming Larry Gilbert into the Holyoke High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay. So, where's the... Hold on. Hear me? Hear me? So, first I want to thank you guys, the committee, the people that put this together. I didn't even know about any of this stuff until maybe 4 years ago or whatnot. And so I salute you guys for the honor of selecting me and putting this together for people to give their flowers to these people that contribute to high school sports. I know when Kelly called me, she wasn't expecting the response she got. I was just like, eh. And and then when Riley called me, he was very concerned, wondering if I was going to show. Because, you know, people that know me, this is not my cup of tea. And so there's been group texts placing over and unders if I'm going to show up. And but I'm here. And I'm here because of two people. One I never got the chance to thank because he saved my life. He saved a lot of kids' lives here in Holyoke. And his name is Jim Jackson. He's here in spirit. He was the only person I allowed to call me Lawrence, because I cussed him out one time for calling me that, because that's not my name. But seeing how those big fists of his, I said, all right, I'll let you slide. And from there, Jim Jackson, you know, knowing I wasn't a disciplined kid, he introduced me to Coach Rigali. You know, Rigali, a guy that, of course, we all know does whatever. He'll go beyond for his kids. And from there, he introduced me, Coach Rigali introduced me to AAU, which from AAU introduced me to my best friend K Free, where K Free introduced me to a coach by the name of Big Will. I have a lot of stories about that guy, but it wouldn't be what you call language appropriate for here. Because in today's coaching era, let's leave it at that. And from there, introduced me to Wayne Simone, the guy that basically gave me the opportunity to compete with elite talent in the whole Northeast and Southeast region. But there's another guy that really kind of like got me to come here tonight, and it's my guy by the name of Adam Lunardini, because for the past, I say 8 years, when he's in New York City, he hits me up, we go out drinking, and all he talked about was this. Before this even became about, this is all he talked about. He said, Holyoke's disrespecting you, they don't retire your name, your number, they don't understand what they had, you know. I'll be like, Adam, let's just drink and just have a good time. That's all he wanted to talk about. That's all he talked about. And so until his passing, I really didn't appreciate those conversations, and it really made me reflect on just the memories and the practices, just the camaraderie of the guys that I had the opportunity to compete with, because all I cared about was just earning the respect of my peers. I didn't really care about this. As long as I know I bust your ass, let's go. That's all you know. You wasn't gonna walk off the court saying he's trash. That's all I cared about. You like, don't disrespect me like that. As long as you know I'm not trash, I'm cool with that. And so, but just thinking back, you know, the practices, because that's where the fun was at. Those 2 hours were the best 2 hours of every day of my life during my high school career. Rob and Rafredo, purposely pissing Hobie off. They love to see his face turn red and he start cussing them out underneath his breath, just pounding the ball. The way he ran, they loved this. He was just a target every practice. Rigali coming in we not knowing if we're gonna practice or run for 90 hours because of what Eddie did. And we're like, what the fuck Eddie do? You know, why are we running for 2 hours? Why are we running for 90 minutes? No ball, he's just sitting over there with his coffee sipping in the clock for 90 minutes. And yeah, so it was just, I mean, I can go on and on with those stories, but it was just, I mean, the guys that I got the opportunity to play with from, you know, JoJo, me and JoJo been playing together since we were like 12 years old. My cousin introduced me to Jim Jackson going to Kelly, and from there, JoJo, Dennis, Eddie Davis, Cedric, Lawson, Jer, and then from there, Rob, Alfredo, Joey, Carlos, Pai. I mean, the list goes on. Tejada, you know, then introduced me to Ramon. I mean, I knew Ramon. I didn't like him my freshman year because he was an asshole. And so, and then when he called me up last year to tell me, thank me, I want to thank you, Larry, for, and I'm like, why are you thanking me for? What are you thanking me for? Like, you was an asshole. And so, but I respected him. And so, but he's my guy. And so, but it was just those camaraderies in practice that really allowed me where every level I got to compete at, from my high school to AAU, where I got a chance to meet, you know, kids from my Springfield family, from K-Free, James G, Lucius Smith. I mean, guys, they're not here, but I'm going to lay them out because they deserve to know that that's how much I appreciated it, because they made the game fun for me to play. My Connecticut family from Wayne Simone and those guys in the Connecticut, they made it fun for me to play the game and just enjoy it, because for 2 hours I'm on that court, I was free from all the stress and drama, whatever was going on in the outside world. They made it absolutely amazing for me, and that's what Adam was trying to basically get me to appreciate. And so this is the reason why I'm here for this, basically to let those guys know that thank you for making the game fun in that time for me.
All right. Next up are the Hart brothers, Jimmy and Eddie. And I'm going to try to make this story brief. I don't even know whether Jimmy or maybe even Eddie at the time even knew it. But one of the first, when I first got to the area working at Channel 40, we would always cover the Tri-County League. And I think Eddie played for People's Bank. He played for People's. Do you know when I had that highlight of him on? Oh my gosh! You know, it's like when you cover sports and when you play sports, you never know when there's going to be that moment that you're just going to remember for the rest of your life. And again, I told you guys earlier, I've covered so many kids in high school and so many games. But for this one day, I think it was a Saturday afternoon at Mackenzie Field, and I had the camera. I'm covering a People's Bank Tri-County League, and Eddie is playing for People's Bank, and I guess he got called out on strikes by the umpire or something, and he went just bananas. He went absolutely berserk. And I had it, you know, it's one of those things where you almost have an out-of-body experience. You go like, oh my God, I'm recording this and I'm going to put it on TV tonight. And that happened, it happened, I don't know, 30 years ago. And I've never, ever forgotten it for the rest of my life. I've always remembered that day. So thank you, Eddie, for giving me, I just never forgot the guy. So, back to it. Eddie was recruited by some college football's greatest programs, but he also left his mark on the basketball court and baseball field. At one time, he was called upon to play all 9 positions in one game in 1983. Jimmy, meantime, excelled as a quarterback, a point guard, and a center fielder. Some describe Jimmy as the best all-around athlete since Archie Roberts Jr. Together, the brothers emulated Holyoke sports and sportsmanship. Tonight, please welcome Eddie and Jimmy Hart into the High School Hall of Fame here at Holyoke.
Was he?
Made it even better.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. To add to that story that he was talking about when Eddie blew up, I can't really tell you what he said, but the Bishop McGuire was there, so he didn't want to tell you what happened. Thank you so much. I'm humbled and honored and grateful to be here. I really am. Thankful for the committee. Your guys' job is tough. It's hard. You guys spend time away from your families, evaluating and researching and all those things. And I just want to let you know that your job isn't left unnoticed. So thank you so much for putting this on and everything. And to add what Larry was talking about, how he said he used to have fun in practice. The first 2 hours, he would say he had fun. I was in that. I was on those courts at the time with Coach Rigali. He's completely honest, and he said he had a lot of fun. Him and Wilfredo Cabrera were the two toughest guys that were on the court that I've ever seen play in practice. And so that's a tribute to Coach Rigali and how he establishes practices. And Larry was the best, one of the best that we've ever seen around here. So he's so accurate when it comes down to that. Just to share a little bit about my brother Ed. I promise not to be long and boring. Trust me. All right, I've never had a boring life. So I had a privilege of playing with not only just my brother Ed, but my brother John. And the Hart Foundation isn't established unless John is here. And so John was the building block of our little family here. And so, in baseball, we batted second, third, and fourth. And so every time we'd go up to plate on deck circle and the pitcher was warming up, my brother Ed used to say, just stare at the pitcher. He said, just stare at the pitcher. And I said, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm telling you, just stare at the pitcher. We already got hits off him already. Just looking at him, we're going to get hits off him. And so he would always try to instill like toughness in me. I'm like, Ed, I didn't need that. I'm already set. I'm ready to go at him. So, but Eddie was an incredible athlete. It started when he was he was 11 years old, and I was standing on deck at Springdale Field, and he was up, and all of a sudden the pitcher threw a ball, and he hit it over. We're in the far diamond. He hit it over the dike. Like, that's not a legend or a myth. Like, I sat there like, that's over the dike. But I said, something's wrong. As he was rounding the bases, I went up to the bat. I'm looking at the bat he had. And this wasn't a bat that we used. I didn't understand. And I looked at the guy behind me. I remember this as clear as day. I said, this is on our bat. It's a wooden bat. And we play with aluminum bats. See, what we didn't know is our coaches used to visit, Jim Moriarty and Fred Barron used to visit the Rainbow Cafe. And at the time, the Millers were in town. And so they would make a deal with the players. They said, any cracked bats you have, bring them down, because we need them. And so my brother Eddie used to use a wooden bat that was nailed together and taped. But he used like a 34. And he was like 11 years old, and the 34 was like this big. So that was his legend. That's how he started. I can go on with some of the things that he's done. I mean, remember watching him in football when he'd catch a ball across the line of scrimmage, and like it seemed like 55 guys were trying to take him down. And it was a joy to see him proceed. I remember his sophomore year when he was a baseball player. He played for Joe and Jinxie, and he played on the JV team, and the JV team rolled up on the bus for the varsity game. And I remember Joe and Jinxie said to Eddie, he got his shoes off and he's got his uniform on. I said, hey, Ed, you're going to pinch hit next inning, so put your shoes back on. That's a true story, right, Joe? Yeah, and next inning comes in, Eddie comes up and he hits like a home run that I can still see going, and it wins the game at Rivers Park, and it was such cool things to see that with your brother. And I remember sitting in the trainer's room when we were playing football, and then the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame came in, and he started talking to Eddie, and it was like a banter, like they were long lost friends or something. And the offensive, I'll never forget this, Coach Hobart was there too, and he said, Coach said, Eddie, you know what? He's like, I know this might be illegal. He's like, but I think I can go out and have a beer with you. I like you. But yeah, he was great to play with. I miss my brother immensely, and he left us too soon. And I love him, and he taught me so many lessons in life, and just a gentle spirit. He was an aggressive player, a competitor like I've never seen, but he had a really gentle spirit, and he was a big teddy bear. My wife would always say, "I feel really protected when I'm around your brother," and that's something that's pretty cool. You know, for me, I thought like anybody who has success in high school, I think you surround yourselves with 3 groups of people that help you. And no matter what sport you play, whether you're a tennis player or a golf player, you actually have people that are supporting. And for me, it was, and I think for everybody else, it was teachers, it was teammates, and it was coaches. Right, for me, it was some special people in my life that grew me and helped me. And I've been coaching for 30-something years. And I take all those things that I used and I apply them to my teams and to my kids. And like Coach Dutzar said, it's all about kids. You're giving back to the community. And you know, I remember Sue Barrett, my 7th grade teacher at Lynch, telling me, you know, you have some talent in English and writing. You have a really good mind. And so that was encouraging to me. And Tom Donahue, many of us had Tom Donahue, and Tom would tap. Yeah, everybody's laughing, right? Tom would. I mean, that's how I remember the word facetious, right? We remember that because I used to write it 4 million times, and Tom was instrumental. He was encouraging me. I was a kid that was from a big home, and he knew that we needed some encouragement. And then my senior year teacher, homeroom teacher, Miss Camille. Miss Camille was a history teacher, and her dream was to be a teacher. But during our senior year, her dream changed. She said, "I want to be a lawyer." And so every single time that we would go into a free period, she'd be highlighting law books, writing papers, telling us to be quiet. And I'll never forget that because I look back later on in my life, I'm like, wow, she had a dream that it didn't matter if it broke. She went after another dream. I think of the teammates too, That's another group of people that we surround ourselves with to help us through. Is the teammates that we have. I mean, I play with Kenny Gamble. Mike LaPlante's here tonight from Alabama, Division I basketball coach. I mean, we have so many people that in our schools that influence us. That influence and helps us. And for all the coaches out there, don't forget, kids are only 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds. Like they're gonna make stupid decisions, right? And so you got to give them a break. Got to give them some slack. And I think we have great coaches, and we all had ourselves fall into some categories. We didn't have a good coach, or we had a bad coach. We have a really good coach, and I was blessed to have some really good coaches. Like I think I'm the one of only a few guys that ever played for Coach Jinx O'Connor basketball, and then Coach Rigali. That's like over 60 years of coaching. And I was privileged. And from that, I learned from Mr. O'Connor I was a sophomore and I was a wild guy. You got to be a teammate. And he taught me how to be a teammate. And Coach Rigali taught me so many lessons that work outside of basketball. I use a lot of my stuff that I learned from Bill, and I apply to my school as well. And he taught me how to be, and I didn't recognize it at that time, but he taught me to be patient. He taught me to be compassionate. He taught me to be caring. He taught me about work ethic. All those things I applied in my life. My baseball coach, Coach McCarthy. I remember my 11 and 12 grade coaches taught me how to play baseball. Jim Moriarty and Fred Barron taught me how to do angles, taught me how to do cutoffs and on deck and how to run the bases, all those things. Joe McCarthy and Jim Long, he knew that we had a lot of talent, but what I loved about them was they never micromanaged our team. They always let us play. And the second thing is they always put us in a position to win games. And that's one thing I'm grateful for them. But I'd be remiss if I couldn't tell you the coach that had the biggest impact in terms of being a competitor was Jack Murdoch. Now, we get a lot of Jack was a Green Beret. Jack was a Special Forces guy. Jack was a black belt in judo. But Jack was a very disciplinarian, a military guy. So he came to me my sophomore year. My second year I've ever played organized football. he said to me, "You play baseball, right?" I said, "Yes, coach." Well, I was like, "Yes, coach." And he said, "Can you catch punts?" And I said, "That's all you want me to do, catch punts?" I said, "Yeah, I'll catch punts." He goes, "You're going to catch punts?" I said, "Absolutely, I'll catch punts." So the first game, come in and I'm catching punts, and 4 or 5 punts. My return yards after receiving the punts was 1 yard. Not one person blocked for me on the punt return. Every single time I caught the ball, the knee, the shoulder, I got a wrenched neck, I got a sprain, and I was getting angry because no one was blocking for me. So the fourth game came, and I was so angry with him, I kept telling him, "Coach, no one's blocking for me." And he's just saying, "What's your job?" I said, "You got to catch the punts. That's all you got to do." Okay, fine. But it was the game at Chicopee Comp. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I'm debating whether or not I catch the punt. Here comes the punt. It's the first punt. I'm looking at the ball. I'm looking at the guys coming down after me. There's 11 blue shirts. I'm looking up. I'm looking down. Do I catch it? Do I let it go? Do I catch it? And at the very last second, I get out of the way. Standing at the 30-yard line, the ball bounces to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, down to the 1 yard line. And I'm walking off the field that day. I remember going, "Shoot, I didn't get hurt. I'm fine." The next thing I know, someone grabbed my mask and ripped my neck completely almost off. And it was Coach Murdoch. I'm not going to tell you what he said, because he was a military guy, and back then, like Larry said, you can't say things like that anymore. But he taught me 3 lessons that day. Right? The first thing he taught me was, do your job. He came up with that slogan before Bill Belichick. He said, "I put you for one reason. You said you're going to catch the punts." I said, "Yes, coach." He goes, "I didn't say anything about returning." And so I had to understand that, "Okay, I get you, coach, I get you." And he goes, "Another thing." He says, you just let your team down. He said, "You let your team down." And that, for me, I'm a team guy. That literally broke my heart. That broke my heart more than anything else. But the other thing that I'll never forget, as a coach, I'm thinking about this. Now I go off the field, I don't think I'm going back in. Coach Murdoch looks at me, he goes, "Get the hell back in there." And so I go back in there, and from that point on, I never missed another punt, ever. And my return yards was still 1 yard. I never got anything back. But and I thank you. I know I'm not coaching in Holyoke. I always say this. I said this to Quentin. I'm at Hopkins Academy. Got some Hopkins Academy people over there representing. And I tell you this, you can take me out of Holyoke, but you're not going to take the Holyoke out of me. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Jesus, I almost lost my way up here. I forgot how to get here. Yeah. These guys. All right, next up on our list is JJ King. This is another athlete that I remembered from my first days of covering sports in Western Mass. JJ King was a true basketball ambassador and held court both on and off the hardwood. Tonight we honor JJ posthumously. A well-known and well-loved Holyoke resident, JJ passed away in 2009, but he left a legacy on the Holyoke High School basketball court, and his name listed above John Jinx O'Connor in the gymnasium as one of the Purple Knights' 1,000-point scorers. A 1989 graduate of Holyoke High School, JJ earned all Western Mass honors in both his junior and senior years. Please welcome JJ King into the Holyoke High School Hall of Fame. Here on behalf of JJ is his mom, Stella, and sons, JJ Jr. and Jacob.
All right, I will keep it nice and short. This is not my thing. But our family would really like to thank the Hall of Fame for this honor. We also want to thank all our family and friends that came out tonight. Appreciate the support. Our father would be so proud to receive this honor. And his passion for the love of basketball lives on through many of his nephews. We'll see them on these teams soon, probably. But thank you guys for this honor.
Thank you, everybody.
Our next inductee is Paula Rigali. Paula was always ahead of her time. In 1971, girls' high school sports were very different than they are today. Opportunities to play were very, very limited, but that did not stop Paula. I don't know Paula well. I met Paula tonight. I can see why limited opportunities didn't stop her. After her elementary school years at Blessed Sacrament, Paula opted for Holyoke High because she wanted to play sports, and she had an immediate impact. Excelling in field hockey, she was named the team captain her senior year. On the basketball court, she was also named a captain and was an MVP her senior year. On the softball diamond, she was a 4-year starter. All totaled, Paula earned 12 varsity letters in 4 years, and she added a 13th letter by participating in the All-Western Mass Volleyball Tournament. Please welcome Paula Rigali into the Holyoke High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
Thank you. They say women talk a lot. I'd like to thank the committee for all their hard work. I'd like to thank all my friends, my family, my boys and all their buddies. And I'd like to thank Tracy, my partner, who nominated me. I didn't even know about this. So thank you very much, and I'm done. Bye-bye.
Yes, come on, you can't leave the hardware behind. You're going to take that home with you. Next up is Rafael Santos Jr. Rafael was a 3-year starter in football, earning All-Western Mass Division honors twice as both a receiver and a defensive back. Because of his on-field accomplishments, Santos was scouted by many Division I AA football programs, but he chose UMass. He played there for several years before an injury ended his career. As a track and field athlete, he set school records for the 110-meter hurdles and was twice named All-Western Mass. After earning a degree in criminal justice from UMass, he started working at the Hampshire County House of Corrections, counseling many of the inmates there. He performed both on and off the field with dedication. Please welcome Rafael Santos into the Hall of Fame.
All right, here we go. Thanks, everyone. I want to start by thanking the Holyoke Public School Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for making this nomination. It's a pretty cool honor, and I appreciate the acknowledgement for my athletic achievement while here at Holyoke High. Those were some great times. Congratulations to my fellow Hall of Famers for this year's class. It was well deserved. and I am honored to be here with so many great athletes, coaches, community contributors, and it's a privilege to be here with all of you. I want to thank my wife of 23 years, who has stood by my side through the good, the bad, and the ugly. There have been many difficult times, but we've overcome so many, and we've had some great times too. I want to thank my daughter for being a wonderful kid, and a young lady now, or woman for that, and who literally saved my life. Thank you to my family, some of whom has traveled all the way from Florida to be here this evening. My friends, coaches, who are also here in attendance to celebrate these achievements from this year's class. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous, right? All right. The football field, whether it was the field directly in front of my house, where I lived in Springfield, or the high school or collegiate field, it was my sanctuary. The moment that the play was called, or the sound of a starter gun went off, everything went quiet. And I could dedicate my time to what I was doing. That moment was for me, which allowed me to escape the noise going around me off the field. On the football field and on the track, I was able to find peace and a sense of belonging at a time in my life that I needed it the most. I started to believe in myself and experience times of fulfillment. Before I go on, I want to share a quote that I'll ask you just to think about as I keep sharing. It's from rapper artist J. Cole, song Middle Child. I happen to be a middle child. In one of his verses, he says, "We come from a bloodline of trauma." That's the kind of trauma that destroys families and communities. I started playing organized football in 1994 as a freshman at Colonial High School in Orlando, Florida. That was the first time I was allowed and able to put my first set of pads and my helmet. And boy, do I remember that day. I walked all the way from school to my grandmother's house in full pads and full gears in the sweltering heat. Finally, I made a team. Due to some unfortunate circumstances after that season was over, I had to move and return to live with my father here in Holyoke, and enrolled into Holyoke High in November that year. Being gone for so long after also living in Springfield for 6 years before moving to Florida, I was back in Holyoke, and I was a new kid again, and I was completely lost. Lost because of the circumstances that brought me back, the many years I spent as a child, suffering in pain, anger, and frustration due to years of abuse. The type of abuse no child should ever have to endure. I was broken, and I was only 14 years old. I have no good memories of my childhood. That's not to say that I don't have any, but those moments were clouded by the suffering I had to endure for as far back as I can remember, the age of 6 to the age of 13. My parents, who were young, hardworking parents, didn't know how to manage me, nor understood what I was going through, which made it extremely challenging for both of them. They were great parents who still to this day have remained supportive, loving, and caring, and who did the best they could and knew how to do. This is tough.
Love you, man.
I felt the need to share this with you guys today. But like I was saying, my parents did their best as young parents to raise me and my 2 siblings at the time. Mom, Dad, I love you both very much. To my sisters, Marilu, Kimberly, brothers Anthony and Ernesto, and my mother, Aracelis, I love you. Thank you for always being there for me. All right, so why am I sharing all this? I'm sharing this because I'm almost certain that I would not be here right now if it weren't for the teachers and coaches in this room. No one spends more time with the children than they do. And one never knows what a child is going through or what they have experienced. But as challenging as it is, it may be, they are there and have a major impact on the future for those children who are in need. Teachers, coaches, faculty members, and administrators, I think you all understand the role you play in a child's life as they go through your education system. You're in great positions to be a true hero in the child's lives who are in need. I'd like to take the time to thank 3 special people in my life who have always been in my corner as mentors and extended family members. That is Coach and teachers William Bill Kane and Mrs. Elaine Kane. Mrs. Elaine Kane couldn't be here today, but is here represented by Coach Kane. I'm honored to have him here. I'm also honored to have Miss Judy Falsetti, who was my Spanish teacher while at the high school. These three people were very important people to me. I refer to them as more as a set of parents, which my mother and father have always had a dear respect for them. Everyone could use an extra set of parents, and they were mine. So what makes them so special? They deserve it. They deserve it. So what makes it so special? Well, Mr. Kane and Mrs. Kane and Ms. Falsetti have made it their life mission to serve and protect students like me. I am one of thousands of kids who they've touched throughout the years. Unselfishly, they have put aside their own needs and the needs of their own families to make sure they were there for kids who were lost and needed guidance. Without them, my story and my outcome would be totally different. Perhaps we'd be here celebrating my athletic, not academic achievements, for real. But I probably wouldn't be here to celebrate it with you if it weren't for them. As my coach and teachers, both Mr. Kane and Mrs. Falsetti were not the type of people I can go up to and expect to hear what I wanted to hear. It was the complete opposite. They give it to you straight and tell you exactly what you need to hear. And they hold you accountable too. I've learned many valuable lessons from them. One of those lessons is to understand that failure, it's all right. It has to be an option in order for one to succeed in life. And they taught me and encouraged me to treat people well and to pay it forward, which is something that they live by. The only two things they've ever asked me to do was to complete my education and to make sure I put myself in the best position to help and serve others. I am forever grateful for their love and compassion and love them very much, and thank them for their support throughout the years. My continued goal is to move forward with what they've taught me in my place of employment, as stated before, where I have the privilege to work with men who have experienced similar circumstances growing up like I did, and working with our younger population by volunteering time to assist in the Holyoke High School football program. You never know what somebody's gone through, where they're at. We're at a crisis for the many reasons that I have just finished talking about from my own experience. This is a cruel world, but we're in a room full of people who have the talent and ability to make the city of Holyoke better, and it's certainly moving in the right direction with the people we have. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Our next inductee tonight is Ann Brennan. 50 years ago, the American sports landscape changed forever. For the first time, no person in the U.S. could be excluded from participating in sports based on gender. An invisible barrier was broken, and Ann Brennan began her journey to the Hall of Fame tonight. She starred on the athletic field all over the city of Holyoke. After going to Peck Junior High, she entered her sophomore year at Holyoke High School, where she excelled in field hockey and basketball, earning all league honors. Basketball was really her sport. She's still the all-time assist leader for the Holyoke High School basketball program, and she earned all league honors there as well. Growing up in a family of baseball stars, Ann excelled on the softball diamond. At the plate, she batted well over .300 for 3 years, a true Western Mass all-star. But again, numbers don't lie, but they also don't tell the entire story. It's about being a trailblazer and putting your best foot forward when not everybody around you is willing to give women and girls an opportunity when Ann started out. But she did. She's here tonight. and she's a high school Hall of Famer in the city of Holyoke. Congratulations, Ann.
Wow. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to thank my daughter, who I just found out about 20 minutes ago is the one that nominated me. Teresa, I love you. Patrick, I love you. Thank you to the committee. You guys have such a hard job. So many great athletes. We do need next year a few more women. Right, Paula? I know they're working on that, right, Glor? I just want to say thank you. I had a great time at Holyoke High. I loved it. Actually, this year is my 40th high school reunion. So I want to shout out my classmates who are here. We didn't go to the reunion, but this night was too big. I also want to shout out my Ian White family. I am a proud Holyoke Public School teacher. I want to thank my family. I love you guys. And I'm very honored to follow my father and my brother in this Hall of Fame. And I'm glad that they saved the best Brennan for last.
Jesus, that's funny. Well, speaking of saving the best for last, Coach Bill Rigali. You know, Bill, I have all these accolades, and I don't. I don't. All you have to do is look. You have the book. You guys have the book. You can read in the book, and you know sometimes when you talk about a man who needs no introduction, Billy is one of the finest people that I've ever met. Billy is one of the all-time greats. There's not a better person roaming the face of the earth than Bill Rigali. And you know that I respect you, I value our friendship, and I love you very much. Bill Rigali.
Which one? Thank a couple of people and one story, and then we'll get everybody out of here. What a wonderful crowd. Thanks to the committee for thinking of me and the induction. Congratulations to all of the other Hall of Fame members tonight. It really is wonderful to see all the different sports stories and how much humanity is given back and forth from the athletes and coaches and teachers and their families. So many people to thank for my success, or any success I had. The people that were with me the longest coaching, obviously Jimmy Hobart, Ramon Cosme, Bobby Listowski, Jimmy Hart, Timmy Collimore. There were times that we were with them a lot more than my family. And we put a lot into it, and they sacrificed a lot too. To the kids I got to coach, amazing. I think what I appreciated the most out of being a coach and having these young men and athletes was their effort and the fun and the joy and the respect they gave to me, to the sports that they played, and to each other. And that was a very special thing. Teachers, faculties, parents, their support was amazing. You made us feel good, whether we won or lost, and you were very special. And any success that I had as a coach and a teacher goes to other people. You just can't do it alone, and the faster you figure that out, the happier you'll be and the more success you'll have. One story, and then we'll get out of here. When I took over from iconic coach John Jinx O'Connor, he came by a practice one day, and he's watching us practice, going up and down the court a few times, and he said, "Bill, can I talk to you?" So we went over to the bench, sat down, and he said, "This isn't going to be easy." I said, I know, Coach. I said, he said, "Holyoke people expect a lot from their teams. They expect a lot." I said, "I know, I got it. He said, "Well, you might run into some troubles. So what I'm going to do is I have a good friend here, Larry the Leprechaun. And he's watched every single game in the Holyoke High School gyms from the rafters. And you might need him. And I'm going to have Larry give you a shamrock. And he's going to bestow on you 3 magical wishes. He's gonna give you 3 times of grace that maybe you didn't deserve it. But here's the trick. You never know when those 3 wishes will come, and you'll never find out all 3 wishes until your journey is finished." I go, "Okay, Coach, legendary coach." He gives me a leprechaun and a shamrock, right? And I got 100 kids trying out for the team. No assistant coaches at that time. And I have a shamrock and a leprechaun. So I go, thanks, Coach, all good. I think the first blessing that was, the first bit of magic was 93. Robert Sisson's magical shot at the buzzer beat Central. We had the game won. Ramon made 2 foul shots with 8 seconds left. We're up by 3. You know, it's so hard not to think about winning. You know, you have to keep coaching. But we were thinking about winning. Here comes Sean Smith. Central inbounds the ball. We're up 3. Down the sideline. Streaking into the corner. 5 Purple Knights after him. Falling out of bounds. Banks a shot in from the corner. Tie game. Where's the leprechaun now? Central inbounds the ball. Sean Smith, same kid who made the 3. He fell into the crowd. He's taking himself out. Tips the ball. Steals it. Lays it in. Now we're down 2. So we go from this instant of winning a championship, and now we're going to lose. I'm thinking, I'm quitting. I'm getting out of here. There's no way I can do this. But Robert, Cabala, Cosby, Gilbert, you know, they all, Joey Reyes, Wilfredo Cabrera, they all believed. Throws, pass goes down, run the play that Coach Hobart had us practice. Coach Hart and Coach Hobart drilled us into us. Robert runs up from the foul line, catches the ball, turns, shot, 3-pointer, we win. That was amazing. And years later, I was remastering that VHS. That's how long ago it was. And on that digital film, when I watched Robert turn and make that shot, I'm watching the Central player go past Robert and try to steal the ball. And if you look on the digital remake, you see this little green image on the bottom. Pushing the Central player past Robert. So I'm pretty sure that was my first bit of grace. The second bit of grace was the Leprechaun was after a tough game, and I went out to the parking lot in the car, and there's a bottle of whiskey there. And he goes, "Here, Bill, you might need this." I said, "I don't drink." He says, "Well, you might want to start now." But that wasn't the second gift, because I gave him the bottle. Really, the second gift was the community I had to coach in, the people I had to teach, a purposeful place. Every day, I could go to my classroom. I could teach, I could coach in a place that I felt cared about me, and that I cared about. And so I really think that was my second gift from the Leprechaun. The third gift, and I'm going to try to get through this.
Behind you.
And I do need to read this. Lucky's third gift to me just happened now. And that was the opportunity to say thank you to my family. To my wonderful and beautiful Irish colleen, Sandy, and to my two intelligent, passionate, and beautiful daughters, Kylie and Alexandra. The three of you made my teaching and coaching career possible. Your sacrificed time and dedication to allow me to complete the many demands which my profession placed on me. I couldn't have done it without you. Your continued love and support, also to my daughter's partners, Saeed and Josh, my Joy of Joy's grandchildren, Sias, William, and Marianella Juliet Rivera. It's like a song, right? I learned that, once I got, into the interracial marriages with Hispanic culture. Marianella Juliet Rivera Rigali. But I go, what? Mary? No, that's not. But
We call her MJ. Come on.
you're right. Saeed said, yeah, we call her MJ, and that's who she is. She has me wrapped around my finger. My sisters Joanna and Meg, and all the extended members of my family who showed so much support over the years. And of course, my mom and dad, Fego and Chick, who got me off on the right road to life. To Sandy, Kylie, and Alexandra, accept these words. I wish I wrote them, but I didn't. I quote one of my favorite authors, Robert Curson, when he dedicated his work about the Apollo 8 mission. To my family is my everything. They guide me in the dark. They are my stars. Thank you.
Hey guys, that's a wrap. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you all next year. Drive safe, everybody.
Well done. Yeah, that was fun. Yep.